Coarse hair, thin skin. When I'm shaving down there, not just any razor will do. New Venus for pubic hair and skin with a patented irritation defense bar. For a smooth shave with blade.
Happening now.
The board of CPS Energy meeting this afternoon to discuss its response to the winter storm last week. What customers had to tell the board. We'll have the latest coming up.
Despite having a huge water tank in this Spring Ranch community, people who live here say they haven't had any water for 9 days. And what's even more frustrating, they say they haven't had any communication either. I'm Devin Clark. We'll fill you in on the details coming up.
A lot of animals left out in the cold or lost in the cold ended up here at Animal Care Services. And Courtney Friedman coming up will talk about how owners are reuniting with their fur babies.
I don't know about you, but I haven't appreciated sunny and 70 this much in a long time. However, we could still use some moisture. We need some rain, and we have some chances coming down the pike. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. The News at 5 starts right now.
First at 5, CPS officials and trustees took a tongue lashing from dozens of frustrated ratepayers today.
Yeah, this afternoon's Board of Trustees meeting conducted over the phone like all meetings since last spring. The first time since last week's weather event, the CPS customers had a chance to actually speak directly to the utility's top people. Garrett Berger tells us they had plenty to say, and Garrett, certainly sounds like it was a busy meeting. I know it was a long meeting today, too.
Absolutely, Steve. It's actually still going on, but we had 108 people sign up to speak during the public comment period. Not all of them did during the almost 2.5 hours that it took to get through the public comments, but it was overwhelmingly negative and critical of CPS Energy. Now, CPS has said that the peak of the controlled outages last week, about 372,000 customers were without power. Now, despite plans for rolling outages during that time, many people found themselves in the dark for days, while others avoided any lights off at all. Now, some of those folks got on today's call and shared their own frustrations from their days in the cold.
There was a time where I was crying when I looked out the window and I saw the snow, knowing that my brother's insulin was out there, and instead of in the refrigerator. So y'all need to do something and step up.
My son and I took a walk in 32-degree weather outside, as it was much warmer outside than it was inside my home.
Speakers also criticized CPS plans to pass the cost of the event down to customers. Now, fuel prices are normally passed on to residents on their bills, and natural gas prices skyrocketed during the cold weather. Now, CPS CEO Paula Gold-Williams has said the utility is still tallying the total cost. And until they do and figure out what methods they might or what tools they might be able to use to bring that total cost down, we won't know for sure how much will get passed on to you, the ratepayer. But it sounds like the CPS plan is to spread the cost out over about 10 years rather than dumping it all into a single bill. However, there were quite a few people who were saying today that if you didn't have power, you shouldn't have a bill either. Live downtown, I'm Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Garrett. Without any water for 9 days now, people who live in a gated subdivision in Spring Branch say they are getting desperate. Some are using water from their pools and the Guadalupe River to flush their toilets.
And what's even worse, according to the residents, there's a lack of communication and support from the water company, although the company is denying neglect. Devin Clark has the story.
It's hard. It's very hard. All we want is help.
Lantana Ridge residents say having gone 9 days with no running water, their patience is running dry.
If we want to wash dishes, if we want to boil water for anything, this is the water.
Lantana Ridge is one of 4 communities in the area that the Canyon Lake Water Service Company, or CLWSC, says was issued a do not drink order on Friday. Officials say someone vandalized a well that was taken offline due to arsenic and put it back in service, possibly contaminating the supply. But Lantana Ridge residents say that they're the only community left without any water at all.
I have a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old right here. And here we are.
They don't get it. They
have no idea what's going on.
Neighbors add that the sudden lack of communication has left them drenched with frustration.
You know, you bill me every month. You know me. You tell me you're going to shut my water off in 60 days. But now you tell me nothing.
But CLWSC says it's been transparent.
We've sent out
emails and texts and phone calls, trying to bring them up to date on the situation.
And about 3 years ago, the Neighborhood Association filed a lawsuit trying to prevent this water tank from being put here. Now, neighbors feel that their lack of water could be retaliation for that lawsuit.
As a company, that is not how we operate. Our mission is to serve our customers. That is what we do here.
And where are the water trucks with water for us?
The CLWSC says it has crews out here working to restore water to residents today. However, they're still going to be under a do not drink order until a lab can determine that the water is safe. Officials say they're not sure how long that could take. It all depends on the lab. Reporting in Spring Branch, Devin Clark, KSAT 12 News.
500,000, that's how many Americans have lost their lives due to COVID-19.
President Joe Biden honoring those who have lost their lives with a lighting ceremony at the White House right now. Let's listen in.
Who wore the uniform born to serve, who loved, played, and always offered a hand. We often hear people described as ordinary Americans. There's no such thing. There's nothing ordinary about them. The people we lost were extraordinary. They spanned generations. Born in America, immigrated to America. But just like that, so many of them took their final breath alone in America. As a nation, we can't accept such a cruel fate. While we've been fighting this pandemic for so long, we have to resist becoming numb to the sorrow. We have to resist viewing each life as a statistic or a blur or on the news. We must do so to honor the dead, but equally important, care for the living, those who left behind. For the loved ones left behind, I know all too well. I know what it's like to not be there when it happens. I know what it's like when you are there, holding their hands. There's a look in your eye and they slip away. That black hole in your chest, you feel like you're being sucked into it. The survivor's remorse, the anger, the questions of faith in your soul. For some of you, it's been a year, a month, a week, a day, even an hour. And I know that when you stare at that empty chair around the kitchen table, it brings it all back, no matter how long ago it happened, as if it just happened that moment you look at that empty chair. The birthdays, the anniversaries, the holidays without them. And the everyday things, the small things, the tiny things that you miss the most. That scent when you open the closet. That park you go by that you used to stroll in. That movie theater where you met. The morning coffee you shared together. The bend in his smile. A perfect pitch to her laugh. I received a letter from a daughter whose father died of COVID-19 on Easter Sunday last year. She and her children, his grandchildren, enter Lent this season, a season of reflection and renewal, with heavy hearts. Unable to properly mourn, she asked me in the letter, what was our loss among so many others? Well, that's what has been so cruel. So many of the rituals that help us cope, that help us honor those we loved, haven't been available to us. The final rites with family gathered around, the proper homegoing, showered with stories and love. Tribal leaders passing out the final traditions of sacred cultures on sacred lands. As a nation, we cannot and we must not let this go on. That's why the day before my inauguration, at the COVID-19 memorial, at the reflecting pool on the National Mall, I said, to heal, we must remember. I know it's hard. I promise you, I know it's hard. I remember. But That's how you heal. You have to remember. And it's also important to do that as a nation. For those who have lost loved ones, this is what I know. They're never truly gone. They'll always be part of your heart. I know this as well, and it seems unbelievable, but I promise you, the day will come when the memory of the loved one you lost will bring a smile to your lips before a tear to your eye. It will come, I promise you. My prayer for you, though, is that day will come sooner rather than later. And that's when you know you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. And for me, the way through sorrow and grief is to find purpose. I don't know how many of you lost someone a while ago wondering, is he or she proud of me now? Is this what they want me to do? I know, that's how I feel. We can find purpose. Purpose worthy of the lives they lived and worthy of the country we love. So today, I ask all Americans to remember. Remember those we lost and those who left behind. But as we all remember, I also ask us to act, to remain vigilant, to stay socially distanced, to mask up, get vaccinated when it's your turn. We must end the politics and misinformation that's divided families, communities, in the country. And it's cost too many lives already. It's not Democrats and Republicans who are dying from the virus. It's our fellow Americans. It's our neighbors, our friends, our mothers, our fathers, our sons, our daughters, husbands, wives. We have to fight this together as one people, as the United States of America. That's the only way we're going to beat this virus, I promise you. The only way to spare more pain and more loss, the only way. These millstones no longer mark our national mourning. These milestones, I should say, no longer mark our national mourning. Let this not be a story of how far we fell, but of how far we climbed back up. We can do this. For in this year of profound loss, we've seen profound courage from all of you on the front lines. I know the stress, the trauma, the grief you carry, but you give us hope. You keep us going. You remind us that we do take care of our own, that we leave nobody behind, and that while we've been humbled, we have never given up. We are America. We can and will do this. In just a few minutes, Jill and I, Kamala and Doug, will hold a moment of silence here in the White House, the people's house, your house. We ask you to join us, to remember so we can heal, to find purpose in the work ahead, to show that there is light in the darkness. This nation will smile again. This nation will know sunny days again. This nation will know joy again. And as we do, we'll remember each person we've lost, the lives they lived, the loved ones they left behind. We will get through this, I promise you. But my heart aches for you, those of you who are going through it right now. May God bless you all, particularly those who've lost someone. God bless you.
And there you have it, President Biden at the White House talking about the staggering loss this country.
All right, that is President Joe Biden honoring the 500,000 people who have lost their lives to COVID-19, speaking about a lot of his personal experience with grief and sorrow and the losses he's gone through in his life, and asking all Americans not to become numb to what we're going through.
offering that personal perspective and some advice for those who are in mourning right now, having lost friends and family, loved ones, neighbors, saying this is a time for all of us to come together. It's not a political issue, it's an American issue. A moment of silence for 500,000 people who've died of the coronavirus.
Wanted to take our own little moment of silence there.
I hope you don't mind.
As we pay our own tribute. Let's go to Adam Caskey right now and talk about the weather situation out there. Like you said, this is the best 70-degree day I know that I've ever experienced.
It always puts in perspective, right? After you endure something like all of last week. Wow, sunny in 70s. Never thought we'd appreciate it so much. High temperature of 74 today. Mostly we're in the 70s right now. We'll be back in a couple of minutes to talk about what the rest of the week holds, including a bit of a cooling trend and rain chances coming right up.
We want to take you back to Washington now for that moment of silence.
The President, the First Lady, the Vice President, and the Second Gentleman heading back into the White House after marking that moment. We know the bells tolling at the National Cathedral 500 times also to represent that 500,000 mark. And as Jen Ashton pointed out, President's
powerful scene there as we're watching ABC News' coverage, and you could see all the candles on the steps at the White House there, and the 500 tolls of the bell to signify the 500,000 people who were lost.
As President Biden said, the sun will come out again. It has in San Antonio after a very hard week. Thank you, Adam, for hanging with us on all of that.
Yeah, and I don't think I've ever appreciated sunny and 70s so much as I do right now. And even over the weekend, just sunshine and 50s felt amazing. Now, here's something to look at here. The rest of the week, morning low temperatures. We'll start the day tomorrow at 44, but then look at that. We're basically in the 50s to even near 60 degrees Wednesday all the way through the upcoming weekend. So my first headline here is no freeze. We are going to be above freezing for the foreseeable future here, okay? At least the next 7 to 10 days. High temperatures in the 70s through Wednesday. Then we'll see a little drop off in high temperatures by Thursday. And that, of course, comes with our first chance of rain here coming down the line. So let's talk temperatures. A lot of sunshine out there right now. Still 73 degrees for our current reading. Dew point right now of 28. So still fairly dry air in place. But that southerly wind will gradually be increasing the humidity and the moisture content here in the coming days. And you will actually notice a hint of humidity in the air by Wednesday. Just a little hint of it, especially compared to what we've had across the state. Still thawing out nicely. 60s and 70s. 66 El Paso, 69 in Lubbock, 75 in Austin, even 79 right now in Laredo. Around South Texas, 68 Rock Springs, but for the most part we are in the 70s and even well into the 70s. Pleasanton, Carrizo Springs right now, both at 77. And you'll notice more reporting stations coming back online after a lot of them were offline with communications and power issues. A good chunk of last week. So we're starting to see more of those readings come back in. Tomorrow morning, most of us low to mid 40s, thinking 41 Kerrville and Fredericksburg, about 42 in Uvalde, 44 San Antonio. By the afternoon, back into the 70s. You go south of town and we could be even 80 degrees. Cotulla, Laredo, both right near 80 for afternoon high temperatures. So another very sunny and comfortable day tomorrow. Pleasant afternoon conditions well into the 70s. Lackland area 77. You get out near Randolph 75, Timberwood Park and Leon Springs 73. So let's talk about our next chance of rain. Quiet weather pattern right now across Texas. All the action across the country is basically New England and along the East Coast and even parts of the Mid-Atlantic today. We're looking all the way up near Alaska. That's where there's a little swirl, and that's our next system that's going to drop in and give us a shot at some showers as we get into Thursday. Now, here's the thing. You look at the rain chances and you see a long stretch of about 30 to 40% coverage across South Texas. So Thursday all the way through Sunday, some isolated to widely separated or scattered showers. So a lot of daily chances there. Unfortunately, I don't see much in terms of overall accumulation potential. So basically, Thursday all the way into Sunday, if we're lucky, we could squeeze out 1/3 of an inch over that 4-day period here and there. So that's just something to keep in mind. Despite having daily rain chances Thursday through the weekend, I don't think it's going to add up to all that much. Clear sky this evening. Not much of a breeze out there. Southerly wind at 2 to 6 miles per hour. Mid-50s by 10 p.m. Midnight right about 50 degrees. And tomorrow we'll start the day at 44. But with that bright sun, we're quickly warming up. Even by the noon hour, we're near 70. Mid-70s by the afternoon for the high, and a south-southeasterly breeze at 10 to 15. If you felt that breeze today, felt good, you're going to notice it again tomorrow. By Wednesday, you'll notice a little hint of humidity in the air. We'll make it up to 75. A cold front hits late on Wednesday, and that should drop us down, get this, back into the 50s for highs by Thursday. Typically this time of year, we'd be a little shell-shocked by that. Compared to last week, we can handle this. 70s Wednesday, 50s on Thursday, and that'll be the coldest day of the week with a fairly cloudy and somewhat damp stretch, but again, not much to show for it.
Yeah, that works for me.
It's fine. We can take it.
We're okay with that.
Yeah, that works.
Okay, we got Greg Simmons up next with sports. We'll be right back.
Our San Antonio Spurs have just updated the status for a number of players following 4 positive COVID-19 tests following their Valentine's Day's 122-110 victory over the Hornets in Charlotte. Rudy Gay, Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, Quindary Weatherspoon, and Derek White are all out for Wednesday's game against the Thunder in Oklahoma City due to the NBA health and safety protocols. DeMar DeRozan is also out due to personal reasons revolving around the death of his father. And we're waiting to hear the status of LaMarcus Aldridge, who has missed the last 6 games with a sore right hip. He did practice today with his teammates, including both Luka Samanic and Trey Jones, who were called up from the Austin Spurs in order to have the required 8 minimum players to suit up. The Spurs have not played for over a week now after being quarantined in Charlotte and unable to return home until Friday due to the winter weather emergency here in Texas. So if it goes off as scheduled, their next game will be a patchwork of players, and that will be in Oklahoma City Wednesday at 7. And due to the breaking news, we'll have more coming up at 6 o'clock.
Still very interesting. Who will the Spurs play and for how long? Will we get to look at Luka, some of the younger guys?
You will get to look at a lot of new faces, yes. Yes.
We'll be right back.
Sunny and 70s again tomorrow, just as warm into Wednesday. But notice that drop off on Thursday. High temperatures probably in the mid to upper 50s with chance of some scattered rain. But moisture should be fairly limited in terms of amounts, unfortunately.
Thanks so much for watching the News at 5 with us.
World News up next. We'll see you back here at 6.